Oh, now it's working.
Sweet.
It's recording now. Okay. You ready?
Ready, love?
I'll just edit that first part where I'm like, oh, it's recording.
Oh, hey, I'm filtered.
Yeah, 100%. Wait, is your internet working now? A lot better?
The internet's not working, buddy, but I'm just on my phone, if that's okay.
Okay, that's all good. Okay, I'm not good at introductions like you. So
yes, you are. I've heard heaps of your intros. You're doing great.
No, your ones are like so good. Like it's, yeah, I can't top that. Okay, we'll just start. Good morning, all. We're here with the business founder of international brand Kiwi Style Fish and Chips, as well as the founder of Etana and Annie podcast. This lady has been not only a business mentor friend, but she is also family. Welcome, Nicole Tagelagi. How are you this morning?
Welcome, Laie. I'm great. How are you?
Good, thank you. It's so good to finally sit down and have a chat. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to probably drop it in there, but Nicole's actually my auntie. So she's actually been one of the first ones that was supposed to interview, and we're finally sitting down today to have a chat. So thank you again for your time.
No, I'm excited, Loss. I always love our chats. Usually they're when you're in the car on the way to the GC, and I can't hear you because the wind's blowing. But yeah, so this is a treat today to be able to sit down and talk face to face.
Face to face, yeah. First of all, congrats with Florida. For those of you who don't know, we had Bris Vegas project open up for Kiwi Style in January this year, and we're looking at Florida opening up, say, is it within the next month or so?
Yeah, fingers crossed, all goes well, hopefully by the beginning of June.
Beginning of June?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Can you give us like a location wise for those who of our international listeners listening in?
Yeah, for sure. So we're over on the east coast of Florida. So most people know where Miami is in Florida. We're basically on the other side. And if you've heard of Tampa, we're about an hour and a half below Tampa. The main area is like Sarasota, and where we're going is it's a key. So you've probably heard of like the keys that come off Florida. So we're on one that's called Anna Maria Island, and it's a great little spot. I think it's just getting busier and busier. Everyone's like flocking to this area of Florida. A lot of people from the mainland. They have a lot of European visitors, but yeah, once we got here and we found this area, we didn't. It took a while to find a space, but yeah, we didn't want to go anywhere else.
Yeah, I bet. I was just about to ask with the whole international traveling kind of like loosening up a bit now. Do you see a lot more foot traffic coming in around that area? Like
yeah, we've so this area has been it was open. It's been basically open the last, like, it hasn't closed down. I think it closed down for a few weeks in March 2020, and it's been open the rest of the time. And so it's just been busy all the time, and because people had such weird schedules, they've had so many visitors, mainly from the mainland.
Mm-hmm.
But one place with our gang in Hawaii, that's one place where they're really seeing tourism booming. We were just talking to a family there, Larissa and Timo, that are our partners there in Hawaii, and they were saying last night that they're seeing a lot of tourism open up, a lot of our friends from Asia coming there, and it'll just keep getting busier and busier. So I think the Aussies and Kiwis maybe haven't even really started traveling yet, so it's kind of cool to see everybody planning to get around the world again.
Yeah, because I've only seen like a handful of people that I know from here who have actually traveled abroad to the USA. So that's why I was just asking, because it seems like things are slowly getting back to normal, and then see that business is picking up again, hopefully back to normal as well.
Yeah, hopefully back to normal. That's what took so long about finding a place here, was because the businesses, it hasn't closed. People were still traveling here. They had their busiest month in June last year, 2021, the area. So that's kind of been really neat to see that even though it was hard for us because there was just nothing available to lease business-wise, that businesses have gone. There's businesses that have really thrived during the time. So that was exciting.
Was that the major draw card for going to Florida, seeing that they were still processing normal, like their businesses and stuff, while everyone else was still following like restrictions, not allowing people who are vaccinated or wearing masks and stuff like to enter? Was that like the major draw card for starting in Florida?
Yeah, 100%. But as you know, we went to New York and there was a lot of spaces available there. But once all the lockdowns came in again, the mandates, it just wasn't business friendly. So we knew we always wanted to go to Florida, but that itch was there for New York first. But it's a cool experience to go there first, see it. And then, we knew Florida was open. There was no restrictions. It's super business friendly. It always has been, but even more so, you just know what you're going to get. There was zero restrictions here. So that was obviously a big draw card for us, and why so many other people are flocking there. But now that we're here, we love it, sometimes Heavenly Father sends you in one direction to just make sure you're going in the right one eventually. So it's been really cool. It's been a great experience.
Well, it seems like it's the right track anyway, because now all these mandates completely like they just chucked it in the bin and like totally forgot about it. It was like, what's the whole point of getting that vaccination anyway? But that's a whole nother topic before we go into that one. But I just wanted to probably get like a gauge of your background, just to see how you kind of like started off before you kind of entered into these business ventures of yours. So from my understanding, you initially started studying with the sports background. Is that right? Health and sports?
Yeah, that's right, Lois. Actually, my very first degree, I went to Lismore University at Southern Cross there. My very first year I did media. I wanted to do journalism, like sports journalism. But, you're young. I was 18 and it was a lot more, the degree was a lot more philosophical. Like it was kind of, which I'm not very good at that. And I was playing sport and that's why I just went, there's a sports degree there, like sports management and exercise science, and all my friends were doing it. That's how you kind of make, for me, decisions when you're young. Mm-hmm. And so, I did, my first degree there was sports management, and then just worked in that field for 10 years, firstly with Soccer Australia, and then I also worked with, the Australian Rugby League and the Bulldogs. And I love my time. I love my time in sport. I learn a lot, and you just work with incredible people. And it was exciting too, especially in rugby league, because that was sort of when women were first getting involved, and, you're going out to schools and you're playing with little girls. And I was working in the Bankstown area, so it was so diverse. Yeah, so you're working with the girls, of the Muslim background, who had never had a lot of opportunity to play I guess a male dominated sport, and just to see how much they loved it. And it was just a really cool, exciting time. And you look at the rugby league now and it's like, wow, it's those girls
everywhere.
They're everywhere, and they're phenomenal. Like their standard is phenomenal. They are so good. So, it's just really exciting to watch. But just to see how much it's grown, over the last 20 years now, when I think about it.
So you said you were working in that industry for 10 years, so you must have really liked it to be able to stick around in that. So because it sounded like you traveled a lot for that line of work, was there any like point of time where you felt like it kind of pointed you towards like, oh, you wanted to do your own thing and manage your own business and kind of step away from that sports realm?
Yeah, it was a pretty cool, I remember the experience, the exact time, and it was, when I look back, it's kind of funny, because now I think I can't imagine doing anything else other than, working for ourselves and in business. But at the time, I was actually working at the University of New South Wales in their sports department, and we were actually, me and your Uncle Wayne, we were sitting down with my sister-in-law Deb, and we were talking about the franchise the Cold Rock ice cream franchises. We just started talking about it, and then it just kind of triggered something for us. I mean, I was in my late 20s, so it was really late start, and it just triggered that, that would be cool to open our own business. And then, like I said, the Lord works in mysterious ways, and then my brother-in-law, your other uncle's fish and Kiwi Style Fish and Chips, he was wanting to sell it and move to Queensland, and that's when we bought it. And I kept working in sport. I can't even remember for how long. It probably was at least 6 to 12 months maybe, but I was still working and we're doing the business on the side. So yeah, it wasn't even I want to get into business. It was just sort of wanting an opportunity. But I've had both me and Wayne, of our parents are great. I mean, both our dads were business people and business minded and had a crack at many different things. Your grandpa's the first leading finance basically in UA. So we both kind of had these great people we looked up to, and our mums, even though I guess they just supported our dads. But when I look at both of our mums, Wayne's mum, my mum, your nana, it's like they're so entrepreneurial, just the way they live their life. And my mum still, she totally understands business and totally understands where we're going and sees the vision. When other people can't see the vision, she sees it. And I know it was the same with your nana and my mum-in-law. So, and then of course I have my brother as well. That's my favorite entrepreneur, just to see how he works. So yeah, even though I sort of didn't think, I want to go into business, I'm like, was always surrounded by these people that were basically just doing what they wanted and having a crack. And things not always working out, but yeah.
But like you said, you had all those influential people in your life, so it was bound to happen sooner or later, from what you've explained.
Yeah, you just, when you look back in hindsight, you're like, wow, that was exactly how it was meant to work out. We weren't like you, taking on these things in your early 20s. This is just the path you want to go on, which is so awesome. But I guess in some respects we're kind of late. We were late to the party, but that was the
you're
path
never
we were on,
late.
so.
I say you're never late, you're on time. I feel like things happen for a reason. Like you said, it's just within the Lord's timing that things are supposed to go the way that they are. But you mentioned that you were actually still working for the University of, was it New South Wales, while you were still trying to start up Kiwi Style?
Yes, yeah.
So how was that, juggling that? Because, working full-time job and still trying to manage your business at the same time, that's a whole different ball game.
I think it was actually a lot of fun, when I look back, because it was just a lot of fun, because what it's like when you're going from different things, it's spiced up. So I was sort of doing the sports development admin during the day, and then at night you get to go and rock and roll with your customers and work alongside family. And I was working alongside friends. We employed the people we love, so it was just a lot of fun. And I just look back and I remember I used to run from I used to, at that time, like I'd finish work at the uni and then I'd run to the shop. It wasn't far, and I was a very slow runner, but I was like, that was just good times. It was that time in between where I could just let myself, whatever, mentally prepare for the night and with the customers. And yeah, it was actually, it wasn't hard. I mean, I guess we've never been scared of hard work, and when you're enjoying what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work, even though sometimes it is a real grind. Like as you start a new business, it can feel like a real grind. But when I look back, I don't remember the grind, to be honest. You remember a few of the hard times where you're trying to manage the cash flow, but you mainly just remember the good times and the times you've got around people that you love. And it was just, I think when I just made the transfer to full-time, it wasn't so much, it was just that I was just so passionate about the business and I wanted to put 100% into it. And Wayne was there full-time, and it was, it just felt like the right time you just wanted to put all your energies into that, and you can no longer put your energy into your full-time job where you're working for someone else.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't feel right when you're kind of going into work with, half your heart into your work. Yeah.
So what advice would you give someone who's currently they already launched their own brand, their own business, and they're currently at that stage where they're at crossroads? Like, what's your advice to them when they try to jump from that, part-time, pursuing the side hustle into making it a full-time thing?
Yeah, I think it's so hard because everybody's so different. And I think we have such a hard time even figuring ourselves out, like making our own decisions, that for me to give advice to someone else, I'm like, it's very hard because everyone has so much going on. I mean, people might have commitments to children or mortgage, or mum might be sick, or there's just so many different things going on. So I just think you just have to do what feels right to you. And just make the decision. And once you've made your decision, just go for it, and don't look back. There was many times once we went full time into the shop, quite often times, especially with the financial challenges of when you're trying to build your business. I remember so many times thinking, I'm going to have to get another job. I'm going to have to get a second job just to, help out with the cash flow. And I just never did. It was, you just got through it. So I just think everyone just do what feels right for you. Just take your time to make your decision, and just go for it, and don't look back, and don't regret it, and just be ready to be agile. And because you might say to me that something you might want to do, and I know you, and I'd be like, go for it, Loss, go for it, you're gonna love it. And then someone else you don't know as well, or it might not suit them. So I just think everyone sometimes you've got to just block out the noise and just trust whatever your heart and your head's telling you. And most of the time you won't go wrong, I don't think, with that.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Like you said, everyone has different circumstances and are dealt with different cards. So obviously, the way to approach it would be a whole lot different. But in saying that, you mentioned about there were so many times where you were faced with challenges, and that during the business. But during those times, did you feel like giving up, and how did you overcome that?
Oh, plenty of times. Felt like giving up so many times, but I was in business with my husband Wayne, and at times he felt like giving up. But the funny thing is, I don't think we ever wanted to give up at the same time, which is pretty cool. Like, it was, I look back and go, okay, it was never the same time. We're like, we've had enough.
Imagine if it was at the same time.
Yeah, if it was at the same time, but like you say, everything works out for a reason. And there's plenty of times, because in the business journey, like I've seen someone mention this before, you just go through the ebbs and flows, especially in our line of work, because it is hard. The hospitality industry, it's very physical. It's physical, it's laborsome, but it's also so rewarding. There's so many great things about the industry that we work in. But I saw someone explain it, and it really is. It's like you go through a phase where it's a grind, it's hard, you don't know if you're going to make it, and then it gets a little bit easier, and then you're like on fire, and you're like, I'm going so good, and then it gets hard again, and you want to give up, and that really is what it is. But you just, whatever card's dealt with, you just gotta, like, it's just like life. When you love it, you just got to get through it, take it head on and just get through it.
Yeah, just take it one step at a time, right?
Yeah, one step at a time, one day at a time, one problem at a time.
So it's been over 10 years now since launching Kiwi Style. How do you think your priorities have changed from when you first launched versus now that you've opened up in Hawaii, Brisbane, and then now Florida?
Yeah. So, Loss, it's actually been 18 years. Well, since we've had the business in Sydney, so 18 years. So
because I was like, it's over 10 years. I can't remember like what exactly. I was like, I know it's over 10 years.
No, yeah, I'm just saying that to be like, whoa, that's 18 years. That's a long time.
That's older than Tuli.
Yeah. That's older than your baby sister. So, but the priorities. I'm not very reflective, Loss, but when I look back at the priorities, I just think, like I said, it's when we first started it, like you're learning all the time, and it's layer upon layer, and that's the path that you're taking. So basically the priorities in business, they haven't changed a lot. Like as far as Kiwi Style goes, our goal is always to be like give great service. That's so rewarding, to give great service to your customers, and just to do great food. I mean, food is the language of love. And so that's still the it's two key priorities. And then the financial side, you just got to make sure you keep going. And but obviously now we just, the place we're at now we love, because it's given us the opportunity to grow the stores. We've been able to work, with your own family, with Team Tui there in Brisbane, and also with Team Hikau in Hawaii. That's our families. And and we've always had my brother involved in just helping us with advice and leading us in the right direction. And like I said before, inspiration from all our mum and dad and siblings. So the priorities haven't changed a lot. Like I said, great customer service, great food, but it's now just our priority. The extra thing that's added on now is we just really want the people that we're in business just to have success as well, whatever their success is, whatever they need the business to be, whether it's financial, whether it's, loving the same things we love with the food and the customers. That's the extra thing that's now is really exciting, that the business has an opportunity to, bring people we love in, not only love in life, but love working with as well. So
yeah. I think that's awesome, that whole bringing family into the whole aspect of business, because I think working with families, it's rewarding, like who gets to say that they get to work with family? I think that's the beauty of it, is you get to work and spend time with your family, spend that quality time. So I think that's awesome. You mentioned success in that, and in going off from that, what does success look like to you, and has it changed from when you first started to now?
Oh yeah, for sure. With business success, you know what? You just, like I said before, when you first start, you're just trying to get through the day. You're just trying to keep your doors open the next day, get the bills paid. I remember being on my knees so many times, just let me be able to afford my GST bill. You're just getting through the day, really. Like that's hard, but that's all part of the learning process, and that's why not everybody does it, and that's why you love it, because it just challenges you. But back in, I guess, when I look at business success, like if I'm just doing business, it really is just like having a go at whatever. Just having a go. If you want to do something, have a go at it. If fear's holding you back, just have a go. Just do what you just do what you want to do, and try to have no regrets. So even if, we've had things that haven't worked out, that's okay. We had a go at it. I don't regret it. And sometimes you feel like having a go at something, and you just got to sit on it for a bit, because it might just be it might not be something that's right. And when you sit on it for a bit, if the itch is still there to scratch, it's hung around, you really have to have a go at it. But in saying that, my mum come up, before there was daycare centres, my mum had an idea to do a daycare centre, and she never did. And she doesn't, that's not a regret. That was just not timing for her, like she had children and she was supporting her husband. And so she doesn't have a regret she didn't have a go at that. I love that she had that idea before everybody else. So I think it's, but like I say, we're all different. But if it's just, there might sometimes be something holding you back, like I said, like the family situation you're in or the time of your life, that's okay. You got to do what's good for you. But if it's just fear and you're a little bit scared, like you just got to go for it. So that's the only thing, that's, to me, business success is just having a go at the things you want to have a go at. If we're just talking business success.
Yeah. And what about for you personally? What does success look like to you from a personal aspect?
Yeah, I think, like we were talking earlier, like I think when you come from a faith-centered approach, it's really easy for us to know what success is. Our success is getting to the other side, when our days are up on this earth, that we've done good and we've done what we had to do to get through those doors of heaven. So it's really easy when from a faith perspective, it's easy to know what we've got to do. And some days you fail at that on a daily occasion, every minute. You fail at being the person you need to be, that you're supposed to be. A good human. That's it sounds easy, it sounds easy, but it's very hard to do on a day-to-day basis, especially with the challenges that are put in front of us. But that's what success is to me, Loz. Like at the end of my days, you know, that I can just be like, you know, I did my best, and the savior doesn't have to fight too much for me to get through the gates. But
if anything, I think you're one of the good ones out there, Nick, honestly. I think you're sorted.
I hide my bad parts from you, Loss, but yeah, that's, as you know, that's success. That's what life success is just to being the best we can in this life, and looking back and knowing we did all we can.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much for sharing that. Because you've been in the business for a long time, what's the most satisfying or defining moment for you in business?
Yeah, I probably address them. Yeah, I probably address them a little bit. There's different things there. So really defining for us was when we were able to buy the building we're in Sydney. It just gave us the really solid foundations, financial foundation that we needed, even though it put extra financial pressure on. Obviously, just owning the property was it was very good for us to have. And then the other, obviously, when we were able to sell. When we were able to sell that property, that was a defining moment, because it gave us the opportunity to have the capital to open our other businesses and sort of grow internationally, you know. So that was, even though it was a hard time, because we didn't, it was a little bit unexpected. We didn't really know what the next steps were, but you know, this is the path we've taken. We've stayed on that journey with Kiwi Style, and we love it, no regrets, you know. So so that was really defining for us, was that's kind of what put us on the path we're on now. But then satisfying, you look back, the satisfying is just the day-to-day interactions, you know, with your customers, with the people you love that you're working with. You know, I look back and I think of, you know, my friends I've got to work with, and the laughs that we've had, and you know, worked alongside, you know, Wayne, and just being able to grow the business together. That's just all the little things that are really satisfying. And even when we sold our place in Sydney, I look back and I was like, oh, there's so many good times, you know, that you don't realize at the time. That's what it's all about, you know, coming in on a Monday and having a natter with your mate, and you know, just solving all each other's little problems. And yeah, that's the most satisfying is the people you work alongside, and the customers. So many down to earth. The people that eat fish and chips and burgers are the best people in the world.
Oh, right. They're the most relaxed kind of people.
They're the most relaxed, you know, your good regulars. They come from all walks of life, and you know, so that's really cool.
Yeah, so you were mentioning once you sold that Sydney property, that you guys didn't really have sort of an idea of where to go from there. You kind of said that, you know, it sounded like going to Hawaii was a surprise, or has that always been the plan?
No, it was actually when we were in the negotiations of selling our property, and the business probably was, but it was mainly the property in Sydney. We were in Hawaii for my mum's 70th. We were in Hawaii for my mum's 70th, and that's when we met up with you know, Timo and Larissa, our family and cousins over there, and Wayne was like, you know, I think we're going to come, and he said to them, I think we're going to come here and set up a shop. And that's kind of how he rolls. I kind of analyze it a bit more, but he just gets these promptings, and then he announces it out loud to the world. Did you have to announce that? Did you have to announce that to everybody before I knew, or before we even have a plan? But I've come to grow to really trust his promptings. You know, we're all different, and for me, I'm a bit slower off the mark when I'm you know, get those promptings, whereas he's right onto it. So yeah, so we were just there at the time. So we were in the negotiations in July, and then we actually handed over the property and the business in January the following year. So that's how that happened. And we never had any thoughts. Yeah, we never had any thoughts to go any further beyond, you know, Hawaii. But yeah, one thing leads to another, and the itch has to be scratched, and you just, yeah, the opportunities come. So
yeah, that's what I like about you guys. Like when I was visiting over there in Hawaii and I was staying with you guys, I just remember like Wayno just saying, yeah, New York, Laie, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. This was, mind you, back in 2019. I think it
Yeah.
was. So when you guys were in the stages last year, 2021, of actually getting that off the ground, I was just like, yes, like, you know, you guys say something and you're gonna do it. So that's what I love about you guys. You guys just say it and you go and do it and make it happen. So yeah, I love that.
Thanks, Lossa. Yeah, it's yeah, sometimes there's just the two of us, so it is a little bit easier, you know, but yeah, it's, and like I said, you know, the faith plays a big part because you know, we were ready to go probably in, you know, 2019, and you know, my dad got sick, and yeah, the Lord looks after you, because he really settled us during that time to not, you know, I didn't feel like we had to leave, and we didn't want to live, but you don't want to be any further away from Australia when your loved one's sick, you know, than one flight. You don't want to be away at all, actually. But, you know, so the Lord works with you really well. He really just settled us down, and it was like, you're happy here, you're happy, you know, Hawaii's good, and, you know, you just feel at peace with where you are. And then, yeah, and then the timing comes, and, you know, you get prompted to move fast and make a change. So, yeah,
Yeah, I was
that's
gonna say that would have been like another challenge as well. Like, how do you deal with being away from family? Like you said, it's just you're all away in Hawaii, and then there's Australia, like you said, and it's not like, especially now with the whole COVID restrictions, you can't just jump on a flight and then come back here easily like that. How do you deal with that when you're away with family?
Oh yeah, it's really hard, especially when we come to Florida, and we are so much more further away. Like, you really realize that. Um, but you know, you're settled in the sense you know where you're meant to be. You know we're in the right place, and you're settled with that. You know, you're comforted by that. You know, my plan is just to try to make our family move over here. At least start with my mum moving over here in the meantime.
Calm
But
if you're
yeah,
listening.
yeah, get her on a flight. But it's, yeah, it's really hard loss. But you know, like it, and sometimes, you know, internet's really good because you can catch up, and I love our when we get to catch up, and that helps a lot. It also makes you a little bit homesick as well when you're catching up with people you love. You know, and you see them face to face. Oh, now I really miss home. But you know what? You feel like you're on the right. If you feel like you're in the right place, you are, and you know, you just got to make the best. We're blessed. We're blessed to be in this situation, you know. So you have to just make the most of it, and everyone will be traveling again soon, and yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll see you here on Aussie soil soon. In no time. In no time.
100% behind your deep fryers in there in Brisbane, Vegas. I can't wait.
Exactly. So just in wrapping up, is there any new projects coming up in regards to Kiwi Style, or any other business projects that you're working on that you don't mind sharing, or even personal projects?
Yeah, so I think for now, like, we just really want to consolidate, like, get this shop opened over here, and really work hard with Team Tui, and over in Hawaii with Team Hikau to Hawaii, just to consolidate the three shops that we've got. Just really work hard to consolidate them for now, within the next, you know, few years, next 2 years. And then I think we just have heaps of potential to grow our online side of things. You know, what we sell online, and connect with the customers that way that don't have access to the bricks and mortar stores, and also our sort of hospitality with heart. We've started with a podcast,
Yeah.
and I just think that's another thing it'd be exciting to grow, like on a communication side, and a media side, is just to grow that concept where we're communicating with other people in the industry, whether it's through just inspiration, education, just grow that sort of, I guess, in its own mini brand in a way.
Yeah. And build that sense of community, like you said, right?
Yeah, just build up that sense of community, and that's so that's on the Kiwi side. And then just on the personal side, like we spoke for before, just something I'm really invested in at the moment is just the child trafficking side. that's happening. I kind of was exposed to it probably over the last 12 months. So I've just been wanting to make a really conscious effort to continue to work in that and support, the colleagues that are working in that area as much as I can. I'm really passionate about that. To me, that's, the word pandemic's been thrown around, and to me, the trafficking, sex trafficking of women and children and men is probably for me the real pandemic of the world at the moment. And so that's something I really want to put a lot of my time in until I come off this earth. Yeah,
I remember we had a conversation about that, and you actually really opened my eyes on it. What organization were you working closely with, just so that way I can link it in the description for anyone who's wanting to get more awareness behind it?
Yeah, I started working like volunteer when I was in New York with an organization called Operation Underground Railroad, and I was assisting, working on a committee with a girl, Alicia Schwamm. She's a really, so she's in the field of law, so it's in the public policy side. So you're working on just trying to push legislation that is going to eradicate or help decrease, the trafficking, especially of children and women and men. And also, or stop legislation that's going to promote it. So that was the area I was working in with her. And there's just a really important bit of legislation at the moment that's been going on. It's just called the Earn It Act. I don't know if everyone's heard of it, but it's to do with there's an act called the Communications Decency Act. It's a piece of legislation, and in it's called Section 230. You might have heard of Section 230, and that's what gives all big tech indemnity. You basically can't sue them. So there's so many survivors of child trafficking and sex trafficking that we see every week that have, they've been exploited online, and they have no way to. Big tech doesn't want to get it offline, and big tech doesn't want to assist to make sure it doesn't happen online. And so that's what this legislation is all about, is just pushing the Earn It Act forward, so that big tech are responsible for what they have online. At the moment, it's $1 billion industry. It's the fastest growing industry in the world right now. So yeah, that's kind of what we're working on at the moment. That's probably the most important thing, because so much, the exploitation of children online has exploded because everyone has access to a phone. And at the moment, it's a battle, because these big techs have got so much money, and their narrative, you can't get past their narrative that's in the media. You can't break it down. You have to talk to people face to face, like I'm talking to you now, because otherwise, if you Google it online, you just push down another path that says, your privacy is going to be compromised and things like that. So yeah, it's such a big area, Loss. Like, there's so many things you can work in that area, as far as prevention goes, intervention goes, and recovery goes. But yeah, once you've been exposed to it, it's hard to turn away, and sometimes it feels too overwhelming. The problem is it's too overwhelming. But you know what, what I found is you just put one step in front of the other. You do what you can, even the most smallest thing that you can offer, you just do. You offer your talents. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor. Like, I don't have these skills, but you just do what you can, and you're led in the right direction just to help in any way you can. So that's just something really important to me. But it's hard and it's not for everybody. This problem has affected, to me, it's probably affected everybody in some point. They're all related to somebody or know someone that's been affected by this. So yeah, that's sort of where my passion is lying at the moment.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, because I know with that type of topic, it's kind of hard and confronting to even read on. Like, I know for myself, just reading and seeing headlines and hearing stories about that, it's very heartbreaking, and to even step foot and, like you said, working with other people to try and kind of break down that barrier, it's even a lot more harder, because you're dealing with it hands on, and just seeing the resistance that you're getting from, like you said, tech companies and that, like, it sounds very challenging, but like you said, worth it, trying to bring light onto that topic.
Oh, 100%, mate. You just encourage everyone that you can to. It is hard, and I think you have to understand that not everyone wants to face it. And you know what? So many people have had experiences personally themselves that you don't know. Like we don't know, and I might be trying to shove it down their throat and asking, why aren't you doing more? But I don't know what they've been through, and they may not be ready to do it. But there's so many amazing people that are, just trying to fix this, and there's so many areas of it. But you just, like I say, don't, if you do feel compelled to do what you can, don't feel overwhelmed, just put one foot in front of the other. And I swear, like, this is God's children we're talking about, so you get led in the right direction to help wherever you can, wherever your talents go. And even the smallest little thing you can do, I tell you, it's you will have no idea at the positive effect you've had. So yeah.
So with the organization that you're working with, can volunteers from, like, say, Australia or like anywhere around the world can chip in?
Yeah, so Operation Underground Railway, OUR, they're mostly all around the world. They do a lot with awareness, like I say, public policy. But you know what, just take your time and have a look at different organizations, because there's a lot of different organizations doing things, and you'll find the right one that fits you, or that you can help out with, because not everyone might want to do awareness. It might be on the legislation side, it might be on even fighting pornography in school, that's where it all starts. That's where this problem comes from. So there's just so many great, unbelievable organizations out there that you can link with. So yeah, there's plenty. Just you'll be led to the right one when you start the journey, if it's something you want to be able to help out with.
Yeah, I'll just add the link that you're talking about, just as a starter for those who are listening and interested in gaining more awareness and seeing where it goes. Just because I know a lot of people would be interested and are passionate in that type of stuff as well, and trying to tackle that. So I'll probably grab that link off you and chuck it.
Thanks, Ross. I appreciate that. That's the more eyes on this problem and the more people aware of it. There's a lot of distraction out there, so we just have to keep our eyes open and people close to us. And the world's a good place.
Yeah, and I'll chuck your Instagram handle in there as well for anyone who wants to connect with Nick and want to ask more questions in regards to this topic as well. They can just hit Nick up. Sorry, I just chucked you on the bus there. Just volunteered you, but
no, of course, please. I know anyone. I'm learning all the time. So yeah, anyone that I've got. There's so many great organisations and local ones in Australia. It's, you know what, in Australia, it's a big problem. I saw figures the other day with online. It's called OSEX, so it's like online sexual exploitation of children, and Australia was the third biggest offender in the world. So of people that view, I'm sorry, like, I know it's hard to hear, but that was the third biggest offender. That was for the Philippines. So the study was done in the Philippines.
Yeah.
So that was in regards to the area of the Philippines, that Australian, that the viewers were coming from Australia, and they were the third biggest offenders in the world. That really hit me hard, because we're a small country, on standards of other countries, our population is small. So for us to be the third biggest offenders, there's people that we love or know that, are hooked on these things. And so there's a lot of work to do. But like I say, it's God's children, and you're led that they need to be helped, and women and men. It's men, women, and children, So there's a lot of great people working on it, though, so that's the most positive thing.
100%. Thank you so much for bringing light onto that topic. I know it's not one that's openly discussed a lot, or even people are aware about as well. I feel like being here in Australia, well, for me personally, I don't hear a lot about it. So the only time I really hear about it is when we have our conversations and that, and it's really like, I don't know, like very eye-opening and a bit overwhelming just talking about those types of subjects. But definitely one that I feel like needs to be addressed more and talked a lot more, so that way we can all work together to help, eradicate it, like you said.
100%. Thanks, Lossa.
No, that's all good. Just in wrapping it up, just was there anything advice that you wanted to share with our viewers before we close?
Oh wow, advice. I'm not one. Unless I'm sort of telling you how to treat a customer or how to cook a burger. You know what? Just everybody is on this. Everybody has got so much talent and skills in this world. Just block out the noise and just be yourself. Do what you love. Just do what you love. Don't feel the pressure from what everyone else is doing. My only advice is just don't try to run someone else's race. Your race is the one that's prepared for you. And when you try to run someone else's race and you're looking around, it's kind of when you trip up. So just be confident for us to run our own race and be ourselves. And business isn't for everybody. Like I said, we've all got so many different skills and talents and assets of what we're meant to do in this life. So yeah, just don't be too hard on yourself and just follow your heart. That's my
awesome
advice.
That's great advice, Nick. And
Thank
100%
you.
back you up on that. Just before we leave, I just wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to jump on this morning and share your story. And I'm sure someone would take something out of this from your journey. And in saying that, thank you so much for your example and for being a light in my life. And yeah, Nick doesn't know this, but she actually inspired me to pursue my own podcast and try to get my voice out there, as well as inviting a lot of voices on this platform to be able to share our stories as well as journeys, whether that's business, non-business, but just having good old chats one-on-one with people and just to see where they're at. So thank you so much, Nick, for not only being like my auntie, but a friend and a mentor. So thank you.
No, thank you, Loss. I love you loads, and I've loved your podcast. It's hard to listen to business podcasts because you finish them off and you've got a bit of an anxiety attack. But I've loved because you're like, oh, there's so much I need to do or whatever. Like I just said, you've got to run your own race. But I need to take that own advice. But when I listen to people, the guests you've had, they're just so down to earth, and you just leave feeling like everything's good. You just feel with it. You're left listening to the people that you've interviewed and your style like with a full heart. So I love it. So and I love you. You're doing great. I'm so
Thanks.
excited for you.
Love you too. We'll probably have to have you back once again on another episode, giving an update on how Florida is going.
Yeah, hopefully we're still around in a few months, but no, we should be right.
100%. You know what, I'll be there in a couple of months' time interviewing face to face.
Oh yes, 100%. We expect you.
Thank you again, Nick.
Thanks, Loss.
Bye.